So far, it's really been an awesome experience. Working for young people is a passion for me. It's not just about employment; it's a passion for me, and I showed that recently quite well with most of the young people out there who also find themselves in the youth engagement space. So I'm really happy to be here.
And also, we don't need to be like we need to get to this today, like when to reach at a certain level today. It will be difficult. As young people, we need to start step by step. We need to be patient on what we're doing, and by the grace of God, the time will come where we'll be at the right point that we can make a decision.
Hi, how are you?
Very well.
How are you doing?
Good.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our guests.
Thank you. You're most welcome. It's a pleasure.
For people maybe who are seeing you for the first time, maybe you can introduce yourselves, what you do. Yeah.
My name is Lawrence Dolo. I work for the Africa Alliance or YMCA, basically on programs. I'm based in Liberia, and basically this is what I do for the Africa Alliance of YMCA and generally across the national movement.
Okay, I'm Emmanuel Regis. I'm also one of the staff at African Alliance MCA, especially I'm education officer of the scholarship program, which is also part of the program that we run together at AOI. I'm based in Niger, one of the West African country, one of the beautiful country. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe you can just tell us what you're doing in Nairobi currently.
Okay, currently I'm in Nairobi for two things. First is for the staff meeting at AYMCA, and we did it for 3 days from 27 to 29. And then I also have to monitor the scholarship holder at AAY. So we started today and we will continue up to tomorrow by the grace of God. So currently this is what I'm doing here.
But I'm also here for this general staff meeting. Each year AYMCA has to combination her staff together and then look into planning for the year to come and also this year. So this is what we've been doing for the past 3 days. We ended yesterday. I'm also supporting Emmanuel, which is basically on his monitoring visit for the African Renaissance Scholarship Project that is funded by Breath of the World. And so far, it's really been an awesome experience. Working for young people is a passion for me. It's not just about employment, but it's a passion for me. And I showed that recently quite well with most of the young people out there who also find themselves in the youth engagement space. So I'm really happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you for that interesting conversation and picking it up from where you're talking about liking to work with young people. So maybe you can paint a picture of how is the work working with young people, working for young people, collaborating with young people. How is that going?
I like when you say working with and for young people and as well as collaborating with them, because when it comes to youth empowerment, it's not just a one-way thing. It's also about driving young people along the line so that they develop the right skills, the capacities, and as well as the resources needed to activate them. So for me, youth empowerment is basically working with and along with young people so that they're able to gain the right space, the voice, and the ability to influence. But all of these three things also come with the financial commitment in order to really ensure that our young person has the voice the space and the ability to influence. So there's a financial component to it. Talking about voice, basically centered around working with young people to be active decision makers, not just young people who are beneath the table, but they are also sitting on top of the table with decision makers. In fact, they themselves are decision makers as well. And that table can also be a space for them to influence the change that they want to see. You as a young person have in mind a particular picture of what you want to see Africa to be over the next period of time. So if you have that voice and you have that space on top of the table, you can influence the decisions that you want to influence. But of course, it comes with the right capacity. You need to have the right capacity. You need to have the right attitude and aptitude. And this is what we've been doing over the period of time, working with young people so that they're able to develop the right voice. That also go in line with the right attitude, so that we're able to resolve some of the misconception that society has placed on young people. Young people are troublemakers. They don't have good moral values. So we need to erase that, because it sounds as if moral issue is an impediment to young people growth, which might not even be the case. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll ask you, Emmanuel. You're from Niger, and I know you work with young people across Africa, but maybe you can just paint a picture of an ordinary young person. You're familiar with the HCD in creating your persona, so maybe you can create a typical young person within your country, and let's say your assumption of young people generally in Africa.
Okay, just a picture of young people, right? Okay, thank you very much for this question. For me, basically, when we talk about young people, let's maybe give a scenario. Is we can say young people is someone who is between, let's say, 15 to 35, okay, age in Africa, and I think even YMCA work with this definition of young people. Secondly, also when we talk about young people, we're talking about force, strength, someone who is well-being, well-built, someone who also has, let's say, the capacity. Someone, when we say young, we're really talking about someone who's, let's say, who has the skills, who has competencies, and who is able to do everything that can help his community to grow. So this basically what I can say about young people. So someone who is strong, someone who is well-being, someone who's free, who's ready to act. Yeah, let's keep it in this way. Who's ready to act in order to help his community. So this is what I can say basically for young people.
Lawrence, you're familiar with the Agenda 2063 and our Vision 2030 pillars, and I'm trying to connect young people because, again, in as much as we are empowering young people, we already have like young people who have been empowered, but then there's that disconnect when these young people are not able to fit in the community because the community itself is not empowered to accommodate these empowered young people. Yeah, so maybe try connecting the Agenda 2063, the pillar on the young people, the driver's seat. How can we really make sure that these young people are actually on the driver's seat? They're not just being equipped with the driving skills. They're not being, yeah.
As you may know, the Agenda 2063 is Africa's framework for development, that talks about where do we want to see Africa between up to 2063. What kind of Africa? Now, talking about young people at the driver's seat, young people play a critical role in achieving the Agenda 2063. And the role that young people play, because they play a very key role, I think there's a need for critical attention to be given to them. Not just about placing them at the driver's seat. Questions we're supposed to be asking is, do they have the skills to drive? Are they well capacitated to even manage the car, if it is a car, for example? So, not just to say you go and take the wheel, but it's a good thing to allow them to take the wheel. But we also need to ask critical questions around: are we giving them the right capacity so that they're able to even manage the car, so that they're able to drive? But I think an important element is about ensuring that they are placed at the driver's seat. Because if we should achieve agenda with Agenda 2063, then it means that we need young minds to drive the agenda. There's no way we can achieve with the Agenda 2063 when we exclude young people. And we also need to be critical about the position at which we place young people in the achievement of the Agenda 2063. Because you can say a young person beneath the table is also driving the agenda. But in real sense, people who are driving the agenda are those on top of the table. So how do we ensure that young people remove themselves from beneath the table to place them on top of the table so that they are able to drive this agenda with the major decision makers? So I think we need to create a space for young people. And like I mentioned earlier, not just about creating a space, but we also need to ensure that young people have the right skills, the right mindset, the right attitude to drive the very agenda that we're talking about. But the bottom line is that we as society cannot achieve with the Agenda 2063 if we cannot include young people. And inclusion should be holistic inclusion. It's not a sideline kind of inclusion.
So maybe because we don't want to paint young people as also perfect, they have been empowered, they're expecting certain things. Maybe you can, I know you have observed the weaknesses that comes with being young, and you can maybe give it to them.
Yeah, so when Emmanuel spoke about the definition of young people, there's the society definition of young people. Then there's the I want to call it the actual definition of a young person. Society definition of young people is where morality comes in. They don't have the right moral. But the actual thing is that there are young people out there who also have the kind of moral that we need to drive the agenda that we're talking about. So in as much as there are challenges with young people, you mentioned about them not having skills and all of these challenges, I also still think that we cannot despise them. The actual essence for which youth-driven organizations exist and they should exist is because of transformation. Because if young people should drive the agenda, then they should be transformed to drive the agenda, right? So if organizations are there to transform young people, the transformation should not just be going for young people who are already transformed. I make a reference to the Bible. When Christ came, he didn't come for people who did not sin. He didn't come for the righteous people. He came for those who, in fact, the worst sinners, he came for them. And there were instances in the Bible where he interacted with people that society deemed as uncalled for. The people, they are very ungodly to interact with Christ. But what he said, I didn't come for the righteous. So similarly, organizations that exist should also not just look at young people who are already transformed. I don't know what the context of the transformation for them, but we should also be looking at embracing even young people at risk of coming to conflict with the law. We should also be looking at young people who are already in conflict with the law, because I don't care how you do it, society cannot live without deviance. There will always be crimes. And in crimes, you always find young people at the center of these crimes. You find out that even young people who are fighting for their rights, society didn't classify them as a deviant. I mean, we saw situations here, even in Kenya, where young people took the street and they demanded good governance. But society and government saw them to be troublemakers. They gave them names, right? So I think we also need to look at the moral aspects, but we should not use morality as a ground for driving young people away from the transformation that they desire to make the change that we want to see in the achievement of the Agenda 2063.
You have talked about the relationship between young people and the government, and maybe, Emmanuel, you can paint a picture of your country. How is the relationship between the young people and the government and the society?
Thank you very much for these questions. And I want just to pick it from where Lawrence Steph. And I think my country is also part of Africa,
Yes, yes.
and we are having a similar issue when we talk about young people. And I really like the points he pointed out when he was talking about the definition that the society have for the young people. Um, let's say the relationship between young people with the government, it is still the same. And I used to talk about one point that even in the church, you may see, I don't know if it's happened all over in Africa, but in my context, in the church, you may hear people saying young people are the church of tomorrow. So they are just, it means that like the society think that no, today we can't believe in young people, we can't like do things with them, okay, we can bring them at the point of decision, we need to let them up, you see. So it means that it's a kind of really issues. And even I think if in the case of the government today, you may see that even the government think that young people, we need to let them aside. So at some, we will just put them where they will be funny, they will be running away. So they think that a good like there's place that young people shouldn't be, even if they are equipped, even if they are empowered, and their voices are not to be listened. So I think those are the kind of things. And in the society also, it is the same thing. When we see young people, we see, as Lawrence mentioned, someone who is having issue. Let's say, I don't know who is sick or who's he's against the, I don't know, the law, and he's not ready to help. So those are kind of really issues that we are facing, young people are facing, even in my context. Especially before I left my country, there was even a little bit situation that young people were talking about. Look, like in job area, you may see they will say, okay, you need this experience. You need 3 years experience, you need 4 years experience. While someone is just coming from university, he has his degrees, he has everything, but they say he needs this experience. Where is he going to find this experience if he is not employed? So those of kind of, let's say, how we call it in French, we say discrimination. Yeah, this form of discrimination that youth also are really facing. So I think it is the picture of the relationship between young people and the government. And unfortunately, you may see they just call for young people when their interest is there. Like when they want, they let's say in political way, when they need them to come to do something, is when they just call young people. But if it is for a good thing or a right thing, you may see not calling young people. So this is a kind of relationship that we are having.
Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for painting the picture. There's so much similarities. It's the same thing that Kenya is going through. So I believe it's a continental issue. Maybe as we plan to wind up, let's come back to your work about empowering young people. So maybe you can break down some of the programs that you're doing and how they're impacting the community, how they're empowering young people.
So I like to start from a point I raised around working with young people holistically, whether or not they have moral issues, and not using morality as a ground for excluding young people from decision making. So we as AAYMC, we are very hugely invested in working with young people from diverse backgrounds. So, for example, we work with young people who society has given certain definitions to. In certain specific country context, there are different kinds of young people that we work with. Basically, because we believe that young people play a critical role. And as you know, Africa is a very young continent. A vast majority of the population in Africa, they are young. And if you look at the trend of situations across Africa today, Young people are basically being used to instigate chaos and violence and all that. So, like Emmanuel mentioned, these are the only things that society see uh, young people being useful for. So when they want to go and shoot guns, they call young people. When they want to go and do all of the worst things, they come back to the young people. So we as AOYMCA, we've been really hugely invested in building youth capacity, so that they are able to gain the right skills that will also give them either sustainable income or some sort of life changes that will take them from this stage of becoming a subject to becoming useful citizens. So if you look at our programs, we run different kind of programs ranging from education, civic engagement, youth justice, programs around transformative masculinity. We also run programs around economic renaissance. So these are all different pillars of the programs that we run. Things around climate change and climate justice. Maybe just to go deeper into that, in a civic space, we are working to empower young people to be decision makers, where they are able to be, young people can be positioned at a place where they can also be voted for and not only be in a queue to vote, right? So we want them to also be leaders. We want them to be on top of the table. Another thing, again, we also do is to also give them sustainable income generating skills, right? We give them entrepreneurship skills where they are able to earn their own money. Because if you, as a young person, where you don't have the means to sustain yourself, you're vulnerable to anything. It could be political manipulation. You become so vulnerable. We also work with young people who are in conflict with the law. Young people at breaks. Young people are in conflict with the law. The essence is that we believe there's a potential in every young person. So if we're able to transform young people from the mindset of being into conflict with the law, then we can also be able to achieve the agenda that we're talking about. So there are different elements of the work that we do, and basically just speaking, I really, really enjoy the work that we do at the AAYMCA. But I hope we can find time to really dive deeper into what we're doing and what are the impacts and so on. Yeah.
Maybe you also want to share?
Okay. The question is about the program, right? And I think he's the one seated at the right point to talk about program because he's the program coordinator assistant in the AAY. I'm just supporting, as we were saying, and in the scholarship program. And I think also it is one of the program who is there to empower young people, giving them skills, giving them knowledge in order to be also to contribute in their daily life and also to help their community. So those are the programs that we implement in order to really help young people. And one thing just I want to highlight is when we say YMCA, the concept is clear. We are talking about young people. So everything around young people. That's why at AAY also we still everything like thinking, reflecting how to which way can we in which way can we come up with a good idea that can help young people to grow, because young people are crying and we listen, or we hear it from our hearts and we really want to help them. So those are.
And it is good that you are young people, just
Exactly.
for confirmation.
Yeah.
You're young people, so you understand
Yes.
young people's problems.
This one of the matters you may see across Africa. Sometimes those who talk about young people, they are not young.
Exactly.
So I think there's also something that some barrier that also will like prevent you to understand the issue or the problem that young people are going through.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon.
In the room you have young people.
Yeah, exactly.
Listening.
Yes.
Yes, and maybe just one message to them and to young people out there.
Okay. The only message I have to young people is just to be strong. When I say to be strong, it means a lot. To be strong, let's say, in their mind, to be strong in learning, to be strong in everything they find themselves doing. So And also, we don't need to like be like we need to get to this today. Like to reach at a certain level today, it will be difficult. As young people, we need to start step by step. We need to be patient on what we're doing, and by the grace of God, the time will come where we'll be at the right point that we can make decision. Today we see young people, they like money, they need to do this right now, and it is difficult. But we need to be strong, we need to be patient, and by the grace of God, the time will come when this will be very fine for us.
I just my message to young people out there, and including young ones in the room: being young should not be a limitation to what you can achieve. It should not also be an avenue for you to be reckless because you're young. I think the both goes hands in hand. Your youthful stage can really be can really bring forth a lot of achievement for you if you really invest in yourself. And I also want young people to know that society is not always going to provide a water space for you. So you have to go for it, fight for your own space. Ensure that other young people out there, they're also benefiting from the spaces that you fight for. And if we all do that, we're able to, develop a continent that is peaceful, driven by its citizens, and a prosperous continent as well. Together, we all can achieve it. Young people, those in authority, older ones, we all can achieve the Agenda 2063 only if we're able to put our hands together to work. But I also have one message for policymakers. They need to create a space for young people, not just the space, but they also need to ensure that young people they are financially empowered to maintain that space, to lead that space, and to stay into it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is the end of our podcast. Thank you for being good.
Thank you.
Good guests, and thank you for the beautiful responses that you have given. We are looking forward as young people to your good service, and if nobody has told you before, we noticed what you are doing, and we are grateful that you are the guys to lead us through this journey of empowerment. So I'm wishing you all the best. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Karibu.